Hello and welcome all agents, trainers, Pikmin bloomers, ballers, lightship pilots, 8-ball advertisers, and our beloved explorers and wayfinders. Thank you for choosing the Wayspotters podcast. This is episode 66 of the Wayspotters podcast. Long live the Empire. We are recording this on Friday, April 14th, and we have a great show planned for you this week. We're going to discuss the number one question posted on the Wayfarer forums. We've been kind of avoiding this for a little while, but I want to talk about it this week. We'll get to that. With me, as always, is Jamal. Hey, Jamal, how's it going?
Hey, what's going on? How you doing?
I'm good. Good. It's been an interesting week. Niantic flooded us with a bunch of news in the last couple of days.
Oh my God, it's been such an interesting week. So Niantic has been really taking a beating, and it's good to see that the Wayfarer team at least is doing some positive things and, trying to keep everybody uplifted and, shout out to the ambassadors who were really like knocking it out the park with what they're doing. So I don't want to steal your thunder, man. I'll kick it back over to you.
No, I completely agree. It's they've been taking a bit of a beating lately, like you said, but it's nice to see that there's a couple of things that were on the forum that people were just like kind of poking Tintino and them about it, but they were all over it, right? So
sure were.
Without further ado, let's get into the news, shall we?
Let's get into the news.
Do you want to talk about the super exciting thing that was announced?
Yeah, let's go into the super exciting thing that was announced, the thing that I'm really excited about, and that is Explorers. Niantic announced the next Wayfarer challenge. It's in the works, and there's 3 choices for this one. So as you know, the last choice, the last time we did this, we were in Indonesia, and this time we have 3 choices. So the choices are Spain, Taiwan, or Italy. And I believe we have that up on the screen, right?
Yes, sir. I haven't voted yet. So
you haven't voted yet. So I voted. Like. I voted, and I won't say exactly who I voted for yet, but let's go ahead and go through this, and then we'll see what the community is going to do. I'm pretty excited about this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, for sure. Do you want me to read it?
Yeah, go ahead.
Hello, explorers. Thank you all who participated in our last Global Reviewer Challenge of the year in Indonesia. It's now time to prepare for the next challenge. As promised, this challenge, you all will have the opportunity to vote for the next location. The Wayfarer team and ambassadors have narrowed it down to 3 locations. Similar to our previous challenge, these countries were selected from a list of locations with the highest numbers of unresolved locations. Now it's up to you to help us pick the number 1 out of the 3 to host. Please cast your vote by Wednesday, April 19th, 2023. So by the time you listen to this, you'll still have 3 or 4 days left to vote. So plenty of time.
Not March 19th. Not March 19th. April 19th.
They fixed that pretty quick, I will say. Right. By the time I got to it and posted, I think they had already corrected because somebody commented right after me saying, it's already fixed, right? And I was like,
yeah.
No, it wasn't when I hit send.
Right.
So let's
which country should the Global Reviewer Challenge be in? So country number 1, España, Spain. España. Country number 2, I don't know something fun and spicy to say, Taiwan. And country number 3, Italia. I think that's right. So those 3 bring up some very interesting and different perspectives as to what the explorers can see. So I think, Chris, the thing that is most, the thing that I like the most about this is it says, similar to our previous challenges, these countries were selected from a list of the locations with the highest number of unresolved locations. So do you want to unpack that for a second and kind of think about what that might mean for the challenge, the highest number of unresolved? So does that mean that these specific 3 countries don't have a lot of reviewers, or the reviewers aren't that active, or they have a lot of submitters that don't review a lot? I think those are probably the 3 different scenarios.
I think that, Taiwan, I think because it's a smaller country, probably has less dense of a reviewer population than maybe Spain or Italy does. And I would imagine that all 3 of these countries have a lot of like historical, especially Spain and Italy would have a lot of historical POIs that could be. So it's probably a combination
for sure. Yeah,
But I would suspect that Taiwan, because it's so small compared to Spain and Italy, would have a smaller reviewer base than the other two.
And then there's the issue of Taiwan being a Chinese property and some people in Taiwan thinking they're independent. Now, I don't want to stick my foot into anything here. I don't know. I'm not taking a position on whether Taiwan's an independent country or Taiwan belongs to China. But I'm just saying that could have a factor into it if it is part of China and China is blocking Pokemon Go like they do on mainland China. That might have something to do while there's unresolved Wayspots there. It might not. I'm just kind of probably wading into territory that I shouldn't wade into, but here I am knee deep into it. So that's
I think,
one of those things there.
I think you nailed it on the head, right? Because there's no reviewers in mainland China, right? So and then that, because you're blocked by yourselves by how far away people can vote on your stuff in Taiwan, there's probably not a whole lot of people outside of Taiwan who get Taiwanese reviews.
Exactly. Right? Unless you've set your bonus location to Taiwan.
Right. Whereas you go to Spain and Italy, you've got France and Croatia and Serbia and Greece and Portugal kind of all in that area for those two countries, right? So,
Spain and Italy kind of surprised me that they don't have a lot resolved. I would have thought that those European countries would be like that. That really surprised me there.
Yeah, that one surprised me too. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. So I'm gonna click on. So let's take a look at what the results are right now.
All right, let's look.
Currently, Italy is winning.
Italy is winning. So I did vote, and when I voted yesterday, I voted for Spain. And the reason why I voted for Spain was mainly for the language. The language, accessibility. I don't speak Spanish, but I understand a lot more Spanish than I do Taiwanese or Italian. Now, Italian is one of those Romance languages, so one could say it's similar to Spanish, but that was strictly why I voted for Spain.
I think that Taiwan's going to suffer here from the language barrier because I think the main language there is Mandarin.
Right. And Mandarin's not an easy language to it's not an easy language.
No, and I think because the last one was in Indonesian, a lot of people had to use Google Translate a lot. Yeah, I think that Taiwan's going to suffer here, and I feel bad for Taiwan because they probably need the help the most out of anybody.
They probably do. They probably do.
So that's who I'm.
That's very interesting. Yeah, that's very interesting.
I just voted for Taiwan.
All right, there we go. Taiwan, here we come. Right, yeah, we wouldn't want to do that. We want to do that. What do you have up next for us?
So, number 2, real quick.
By the way, that's a snazzy looking T-shirt you have on there, sir.
It is a snazzy T-shirt.
A Wayspotters T-shirt, yeah. And I'm wearing the Wayspotters T-shirt version where I have my face on the shirt. As you can see, that's Jamal wearing the T-shirt. And for those of you wondering, the shirt that Chris is wearing, the gray shirt, and then that shirt also comes in black, at some point in the future will be on the Pokemon Professor Network merch store, and you'll be able to purchase your very own T-shirt. And Chris and I actually have one extra large T-shirt left from a previous printing, and we're going to find some way to give it away. So I don't know. It's actually sitting right over here. We're going to find a way to give it away, and it'll be free to whoever wins whatever contest we do. And I will even pay for the postage. And I just hope I don't have to ship it to New Zealand or Australia because that'll cost me a lot. But I'm committed to sending it to somebody who fits an extra large and wants a free Wayspotters T-shirt and will wear it every day until it falls apart.
Sounds good. Yeah, we need to talk about that and figure out how we're going to do that.
Yeah, exactly. All right, go ahead. I'm sorry. I got you off track there.
No worries. No, it's good to get that out there. Real quick, number 2, they have added the street address back to the review screen.
Wait, what?
They added the street address back to the review screen.
That bothered me that was gone. I don't know why that bothered me, but it did.
To tell you the truth, I kind of liked it not being there. Because I take a lot of screenshots and I post a lot of stuff on Twitter, and
you didn't have to worry about
crop it out, right? Because I don't want to be doxing people, right?
Right.
but now I have to go back to cropping it out. But I do understand how helpful it is, and it is nice to have it back.
Right.
But it's a little annoying.
You know, I like having it back because I
Selfishly.
found myself going to the map and like stretching it out to see where it is. I'm like, where is this? What country is this in? And also, I was getting a lot of nominations from places that I've never gotten nominations for. So I just wanted to see like where this was, just to kind of get the kind of local flavor of it. Like I started getting a few from Michigan. I'm like, I have never reviewed anything from Michigan, even on an upgrade, and I got like 5 from Michigan the other day. So I was like, oh, that's cool. I get to see downtown Detroit and surrounding areas. So that was kind of nice.
Nice. Very cool. Yeah, I've been getting them from all over too. So
do you think the trainers and explorers will like having the address back, or what do you think?
I do. There's a lot of posts and a couple of different threads on Reddit and the Wayfarer forum that were saying, hey, I want this back. Hey, I want this back. There's a lot of people complaining that it was gone. So I think the kudos to Niantic again and the Wayfarer team for seeing the feedback and seeing what the people wanted and giving it to them.
Right. The Wayfarer team's been doing pretty well lately, so I'm very impressed.
Yes.
So I personally may be a little misguided, but I'm going to give a lot of the credit to the ambassadors. I think just having extra people, quote unquote, on staff, I know they're not being paid, but just having extra bodies to help out with things goes a long ways. I know like in my work, like in my work, when in the summer, when we get the interns in and they're kind of eager college students and we're not paying them, but just having extra people around really kind of makes a big difference to get things done.
No, absolutely, for sure. We got the same thing. We have temporary workers right through till the end of Christmas, and like we hire them. It's so much nicer. We can actually get work done.
Right. All right. What else you got for us today?
Number 3. So a little while ago, if everyone remembers, I think we talked about it last week when Niantic pulled a bunch of stuff into Niantic voting by accident. I'm using air quotes that it wasn't a bug. But then they kicked it all back into general voting. A lot of the ones that were upgraded have stalled. So they were not moving at all. So somebody finally started poking Niantic on the Wayfarer forum and said, hey, people have been talking about this for days and have been being ignored. Please review the messages above. And they replied, I've escalated the issue to the engineering team so that they were looking at it. And then I think 6 or 7 hours later, they got confirmation from the engineering team that they found the problem and they are working on a fix. So if you have stuff that was upgraded when Niantic pulled it and it's kicked back to you upgraded, they are working on a fix to not only prevent this from happening in the future, but to resolve the submissions that are currently impacted by it.
Right. And shout out to Niantic Thib, who's the new PM over there. Since the new PM has come on, a lot of things have gotten done. Always going to shout out my main man, Tintino. I know you're listening, Tintino. Don't pretend like you're not. So I'm giving you your shout out. Shout out to you, but shout out to Niantic Thib, who's got a lot of things done as the PM. We appreciate that. It makes our product better. And, you and I, Chris, we get to talk about the good part of Niantic, the part that's working, not the part that everybody is mad at. So that always makes me happy that I don't have to focus on something super negative.
Yeah. So I want to go off on a bit of a tangent here because you mentioned something that I wanted to talk about like 2 weeks ago and I completely forgot.
All right, let's go.
Do you remember when I brought up those basketball court nominations?
Yes.
That got rejected, and then I appealed it to Niantic and it got rejected?
Yes.
Well, they got approved.
Really? They got approved?
So Niantic went in and fixed the one that I had appealed and the one that got rejected, and they're both approved. So it's funny that you mentioned that they're listening because I passed it to Ken and Testone, but neither one of them came back to me and said, hey, Niantic said anything, right? So maybe they are listening. Maybe they heard me complaining about it and fixed my account for me. And it was nice.
Okay.
But
good.
I still don't know what's going on there. I still have 2 on hold that I'm reluctant to take off hold because they haven't said anything publicly about what they're doing. But I was happy to see those 2 get resolved. So
that's good.
Yeah.
As you know, I still have a lot that are just kind of sitting out there because my area kind of sucks. And I have 2 upgrades. But I have to decide which ones I'm going to use them on. So I don't know yet. But that's good. That's really good. And it looks like you've been doing some monitoring of Twitter, which is dangerous, sir. But you came across a post from Woodwolf's Wolf. You want to tell us about that a little bit? Be careful on Twitter. People are really mean.
So Woodwolf's Wolf posted this in the Discord about somebody who posted something on Twitter. It's also on Reddit now too. There was a couple that had both of their Pokemon Go accounts suspended because of violations that they made in Niantic Wayfarer. So it's a long thread, and it's kind of all over the place. So I'm not going to share all of it, but first they got an email saying, "Hey, your accounts have been suspended for 10 days for violations in Wayfarer for submitting stuff that's not eligible." Right. And then 7 hours later, apparently they got another email saying, "Hey, we found that you've been using third-party software," or whatever. They give you the generic list of stuff. So they got a 30-day suspension. And then all of a sudden, like 2 days later, it was, "Oh, now your accounts have been permanently disabled." So they go on. They went on Twitter and they posted a whole thread about it. And like I said, it's all over the place. But the gist of it is, and then they shared 2 Wayspots to kind of highlight the stuff that they were like, "Oh, I don't know why this is." So I'm going to pull it up on the screen here.
All right, pull it up on the screen.
I'm going to talk real quick about what this is.
Let's see if we can see this here.
So all right, these are the 2 examples that they posted, right? And everybody was like, "Cool artwork, it's not eligible."
Right. So for the people, so for the people listening to this on the audio version, what we're looking at is 2 pictures of a roundabout. And when you think of a roundabout, think of what's popular in Europe, and they're becoming more popular in the States. Don't know about Canada, where you enter the intersection and you don't go straight through it, but you veer to the right in a semicircular fashion, and then exit either to the right or to the left. And these particular Wayspots are right dead center in the middle of the roundabout. And there is no way to clearly access those without walking into the roadway where there's cars. Continue.
Yeah. And that's exactly it. And that's what everybody said. There's no, like, if there was a crosswalk where you could stop traffic to get there, that's totally different. Right. But these are pure 100% roundabouts. There's no crosswalks that'll take you over there. So there's no pedestrian access. So they're not eligible. Right. So people were like, if this is this kind of stuff that you're submitting and you've done it multiple times, we can see why the Wayfarer team would say, "Hey, pump your brakes.
Right.
We're going to slow you down a little bit."
Yeah, exactly. We need to stop you. It's like kind of like the coach pulls you out of the game, go sit on the bench, get a drink of water, review the rules before you get back in the game.
Yep. If you're a baseball fan, they Javier Baez them.
Right. Ooh, let's
how
see
many
how
people
many
are
people get that one. I was going to say, let's see how many people get that deep cut there.
But I think what's happened here is that the automated system kind of took a hold of these 2 people and are playing some games with them.
Yeah.
But it just doesn't add up. Right? Like, it seems odd to me that Niantic would permanently suspend these accounts for nothing.
Right. There's got to be something else going on behind the scenes. There's got to be, right?
I think there's more to this story, and I don't want to get into it really, but I wanted to highlight this and say, listen, this is when Niantic says that they will suspend your Ingress account or suspend your PoGo account or suspend whatever game account that you're playing on because you're abusing Wayfarer. They're not kidding.
Now, where do you think the third-party software comes into this? This is the piece that I was a little confused on, and obviously they didn't go into detail. But if you could guess, where do you think the third-party software comes in? Do you think that's more of a Pokemon Go or Ingress? Because there's really no way to abuse Wayfarer with third-party software that I know of.
Not that I know of either. Like, why would you? Like, you have the tools to use everything. Like, why would you need third-party software? I don't know. I know that there was a ban wave that went out for PoGo. Maybe they got caught up in that.
Right.
maybe they just happened to get the 10-day suspension from Wayfarer when that ban wave went out, and they got caught up in that.
Right. Well, there was my old joke about the Pokemon. When you caught a Pokemon that you spoofed, I called them Jamaican Pokemon, and everybody's like, "Why do you call them Jamaican Pokemon?" I'm like, "Red Stripe Mon," because it had a red
stripe on. Nice.
Red Stripe Mon. Okay, all right. Maybe I'll save that for the dad joke segment. All right, we'll see.
No, that's a good one. No, that was a good one. Yeah. So yeah, I wanted to include that just to kind of throw that warning out there for our viewers and our listeners, saying, hey, if you're doing some nefarious stuff with your Wayfarer and
it's not worth
faking
it.
Locations and submitting spots, then it's not worth it, because they'll come down on you, and right or not, these people can't play Pogo anymore because
right. You don't want to do that. I put way too much time and effort into my account to try to do something nefarious. Like, we're talking almost 7 years of stuff. And if it just got suspended or taken away tomorrow, I'll use a big word, I'd be crestfallen. I'd be heartbroken, and it would be tough, because we're not only talking about Pokemon or Wayfarer, we're talking about Ingress and everything else. And there's been a lot of blood, sweat, and tears and worn out shoes. Past yesterday, I submitted 5 new nominations. So there's this place in Charlotte called the Irwin Creek Greenway. Say that fast 5 times. And the Greenway runs past the golf course where my daughter's taking her lessons. Everybody knows I've been talking about it. Every Thursday she goes and she has her golf lessons. Well, there's a Greenway that runs right next to it. So I've started at the beginning of the Greenway, and I'm going all the way to the end of the Greenway. And I'm nominating all of the quarter-mile trail markers.
Nice.
So, and then one I nominated yesterday was the half-mile trail marker. And I said, Irwin Creek Greenway half-mile milepost. And then in the description, I said, half mile in or half mile out? ? And left it there. See, that's good, right?
That's good. I like that.
When you nominate 9 different trail markers, you can't just say this is the 3/4. It just gets old. So I'm like, are you a half mile in or are you a half mile out? Now, if you're a walker or a jogger, that's a big deal, because if you're just a half a mile in, you're like, oh boy. But if you're half a mile out, you're like, I'm almost home. So yeah,
that's a huge difference. Yeah,
it's a huge difference.
Yeah.
But now I'll go on a tangent. What's irritating is when I'm looking at the IITC map, and I'm looking and I'm like, ooh, here's a trail marker. And then I see someone submitted something, and I'm like, why did you put that there? Like, you completely screwed up this whole area. If you had to just put this in the other cell, so there's a bridge, right, that connects over the water, and they put the pin right in the middle of the bridge, which is like on the wrong cell that they shouldn't have put it on. Now, I know there's people screaming at their device right now going, that's where they should have put it. I would have put the pin on the other side of the bridge that's in a different cell. Then I could have got another trail marker on the other side. And, this is that whole what's a few meters between friends. But this actually is legit. This would have been still on the bridge, but just in a different cell where you could get more POIs in there. So I don't know. I may, in quotes, go and move that. I may use the Wayfarer website and move it to the other end of the bridge. And what I would say is the pin needs to be on the outside of the bridge so it doesn't interfere with people who are walking and biking on the middle of the bridge. See, that's legit.
No, yeah, 100%. That's fair. That is really fair, and that drives me nuts too.
Yes,
people kind of put things in spots that are not necessarily ideal for the things that I'm planning.
Exactly. And my plan is the best plan. Everybody knows that. Don't mess with my plan. All right. What do you got next for us? I see you got something up there on the screen. What are we talking about next?
So this leads actually perfectly into what I wanted to talk about for topic number 2, which is the number one question that gets asked on the Wayfarer forums and on Reddit and on the internet and everywhere when people who are new to Wayfarer. I submitted something, it got approved, I went out to spin it or I went out to hack it, and I can't find it. What's going on? Where is my Wayspot? Where's my Pokestop? Where's my portal? So we're going to talk
Yes.
about inclusion rules.
Yes. Let's talk about
And
inclusion rules.
I know there are some people who are listening right now who are kind of cringing and going, "Oh no." I'm not going to go into too much details, but
you don't want to get your hand slapped.
I don't want to get my hand slapped.
Yes. And also with inclusion rules, one of the things that I want to bring up at the very end of topic number 2 is the tweet that was sent out by Pokemon Master Holly.
Yes.
She sent a tweet out to Niantic. She tagged Niantic Wayfarer. And I think maybe, you know what we can do? We can do a live response to her tweet for the YouTube audience, and obviously the podcast audience could hear it, but people will see our reply. And Chris, you're the wordsmith, so maybe when we're done with this, we can pull up her tweet, we can read it live for us, and then we can respond. And then, you know what we'll do is we'll reach out to her and see if she wants to come on and talk about it. She's someone who has talked about Pokestops, POIs, Wayspots before. Maybe we'll reach out to her and have her come on and give her angle on that. So, but without further ado, let's talk about inclusion rules. I'm going to sit back and let you do this one, because when I talk about inclusion rules, I get in trouble and people yell at me.
I am sure that I'm going to upset someone when I'm doing this. However, I'm going to try and be tactful about it. I'm going to try and be tactful about it. So,
all right, let's go.
Ingress inclusion rules are very, very simple. It's 20 meters. Anything 20 meters next to an already existing portal will not show up on the Ingress map. That wasn't the case for a while, from what I read. There was a period of time where you could just kind of submit anything and then it would appear on the Intel map, which was
that is
it.
true. Yeah, that's true.
Because
I took advantage.
Oh yeah, I bet a lot of people did. Yeah, I'm almost level 8 in Ingress now. I've actually been playing.
All right, so look at you. Proud of you.
I want to be able to submit stomps in Ingress too. So
it's glorious. I have 80 stops that I can submit at any one time, because I have 40 in PoGo and 40 in Ingress. And let me tell you, I'm making it rain. I'm putting them out there left and right.
I want to be able to edit portals. That's my
yes.
So
it's glorious. It is glorious, my friend.
Yes, and I can't wait. I think I'm 100,000 away from level 8.
Okay. So are you at the stage where you have all your badges?
I think I looked ahead. I think I'm okay.
Okay.
I think I might need one more gold badge.
Okay.
I don't. To tell you the truth, I don't know. But I remember looking ahead and think I'm not too far off. Right?
I'm level 15 now, and I have everything I need except for the AP to get to level 16 to recurse, but I'm just lazy, and I haven't found that love for Ingress again like I had before. I'm still upset about that issue. So I need like 7 million more AP to get to level 16, and then I can recurse and start all over again. So we'll see. Someday, maybe I'll do it live on the podcast for the YouTube watchers. I'll recurse live there, and then I'll have everybody scream at me that we're talking about something that's not Wayfarer. So anyways.
All right. Yeah.
So don't say the word Pokemon Go. Yes.
Yeah. So this is my pride and joy area.
Okay.
This is Plattsburgh, New York. This is a park that when I started had one stop and one gym.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So there was not a lot of Ingress players in this area when I started.
And this was prior to Pokemon being able to submit POIs, right?
This is what I did. Yeah, this is what I did right when in November 2019, when Pogo got the ability to submit stocks.
Gotcha.
I went ham.
Gotcha.
I pulled this up, did my map, messaged the local group and said, "Nobody touch this. It's mine." And everyone else is kind of like, "How about
Stay away.
So the inclusion rules for Ingress 20 meters. The inclusion rules for Pokemon Go are 1 Wayspot, so Pokestop or gym per cell. So this is what these squares are. It's an S17 cell if you're looking at it on the YouTube. So you get one per cell. I'm not going to go into kind of what makes gems and all that stuff, because that's you can Google that. But I wanted to highlight a couple of things that people don't realize when they do this is if you've got something that's close to a border, you can kind of, what's a couple meters between friends to put it into a different cell. So like this one, this is a public garden where the local community goes and they plant fruits and vegetables for the local food banks and that sort of thing. This is technically in 3 different cells. So you could have put that pin in any one of these 3 cells and it would have been eligible. And it would have been legit.
It would have been legit.
It would have been legit.
What you did, sir, is you did strategic POI placement. And I feel like I should put that on a shirt. So you preserved the baseball field, which is in an adjacent cell, that you can find something in that cell later without burning it. I love that.
Absolutely. And so baseball fields are another good example, right? Chances are that baseball field that you've got, it's not in just one cell, right? So ideally you would want to put the pin behind home plate off the field, but a baseball field pin down the right field line or the left field line or kind of out past the fence in center field, that's a legitimate spot, right? So
sure is, yeah.
So now we're looking at a baseball field where I did put it behind home plate because that's just happened to be where it fit, right?
Right.
If you go up and to the left a little bit, there's a football field that I put the pin right at the end of one of the end zones, but I strategically put it just a few feet off to one side so it fit in its own cell, right? Whereas if I were to put it
POI placement.
Yeah. If I were to put it 5 or 6 feet to the left, it would have been in the same cell as that baseball diamond. And yes, it would have shown up in Ingress, but it wouldn't have shown up in PoGo, which at the time was my main priority. Right.
All right. What's your go-to? What's your go-to, meters or feet? I try to say meters. I try to say meters because we've got a global audience, but my go-to in my head is feet because I think of everything in feet, not meters. But and when I say meters around my locals, they're like, meters? I'm like, well, yeah, meters. That's what everybody else but the US. Yeah, everybody else but the US goes with meters. So I'm not going to be the big fat ugly American and just say feet and expect everybody else to adjust. So okay, because you said meters and you said feet. I just wanted to know what was your go-to.
Yeah, I try and go with meters, but sometimes my brain defaults to feet because I'm married to an American. So
okay,
and I have to relay things in feet to them so that they understand. One of the other things I wanted to say is there are some times when you can't manipulate or you can't maneuver a pin to be in a different cell, and you have to put 2 spots in the same kind of cell, right? So this one. The dog park, the entrance is right there, and there was a basketball court in the same cell. You couldn't maneuver that, right? Because there's not really a whole lot of pedestrian access back here, so it just made more sense to put it there.
And I like the way you have that laid out. Like it looks really clean, and I don't know how far away from New York you are from where you are now, it's a couple hours, but I'm like, man, you got to get back down there and do some of that baseball field or get somebody else to do something. Like my eyes twitching and I'm like, oh my God, go back down there and do that.
So there is actually nothing in that empty cell.
Oh no, there's no dugout. There's no dugout on the first base line or anything.
Not significant enough for it to get through. No, there's nothing there. Believe me, I tried.
All right.
Oh, I tried. That is the max. So funny story. There's this one right here, this time capsule. So it's a plaque in the ground.
Okay.
Underneath a tree. That was the last thing I did before I moved away. And my kids went to the elementary school that's right near there. So we were walking through there and they were running around and I tripped over that plaque.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And I was like, what the heck? So I got up and I looked at it and went, oh my God.
Yeah.
Took a picture of it. I was like, what are you doing? And I'm like, this could be a Pokestop. So that's a little funny story.
I tell my wife if she sees anything interesting to take 2 pictures of everything she sees that's interesting, and I'll figure out if I can get it in the game. I'm like, get a straight on picture, and I'm like, then go just a little bit to the side, get that thing in there, and take another picture. So she's like, why? I'm like, just do it. Just don't ask questions. Just do it.
Yep. And real quick before I move on, because I think that's kind of all I have to say on this, is this for the viewers. This is Mickey's Restaurant and Lounge. This is the one Wayspot that took me 4 years to get into the game.
Oh wow, 4 years.
So
did you get a lot of generic business?
Yeah. It got rejected generic business 4 times, and then finally, when they announced that appeals were a thing, it was the second thing that I think that I appealed. And like a year after that, it finally got approved. And I think I almost fell over when I got that email.
You're like, what?
I wrote a whole article about it. So if you want to hear the whole story, go check out my article and go up.
We need to make sure we put your link to your articles in the show notes. So I know we're doing on-air production right now, but in the show notes, we need to make sure that we do that so people can go back and read your articles because they're good. I went back and I read them all. So
nice, thank you.
We'll have to do that.
Yeah. So back to the STL. It's you have to be careful that you're not putting stuff too far away from where it actually is, right? It still needs to be connected to the POI. It still needs to be a legitimate pin placement because if you put it too far away,
what I say.
Yeah. Because if you put it too far away, you'll run the risk of the reviewers moving it to somewhere you don't want it to be, right? So by no means are we saying, hey, go out and manipulate your game board and put stuff where it's not, because that's not what we're saying, right? But if you can get creative and pay attention to your cell borders,
this guy right here is
you can get more stuff in the game, right? And it'll cut down on 40% of the posts in the Wayfarer forum saying, hey, where's my stop?
Right. So speaking of that, so did you want to talk about rules? Because I was going to transition to the tweet, but did you want to talk about the rules that we think need to be tweaked?
Oh, yeah. So I don't necessarily think that this whole S1 per S17 cell thing I don't think it's needed, to be quite honest with you. I think you could probably, if you were to say, kind of create a hybrid between Ingress and PoGo and say, for both of them, right? I think 20 meters is a bit much. Maybe if you were to say, I will give you 2 spots in an S17 cell, so long as both of them are 10 meters away from another stop.
Right. Well, I don't know. I come down to this a little bit differently. So I've personally seen Wayfarer abuse where stops are right on top of each other. And I play Ingress where they're 20 meters apart or less. So, there's some legacy ones. And if we're talking about inclusion rules for Pokemon Go, it's difficult to play if you don't have a peripheral, a ball plus or whatever. And then you got to think in Ingress, there's nothing spawning, right? So Pokemon Go, things are spawning. You have Pokemon spawning from these stops. And if you have them too close together, it really becomes difficult on a community day or any other day to identify what you're trying to hit and click on and spin.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair.
So I think for me, honestly, and this is probably counter to everything everybody would think that I would say, that you really need a clean game board that you can see everything. Like, you see some of those things in foreign countries where there's a street and there's like 50 things lined up. Like that would be cool to kind of go and do. But if that was your normal everyday, like you couldn't really get anything done. So I don't disagree with having things a little bit closer, but I think if everything is on top of each other, it's aesthetically not pleasing.
Yes, yeah, I will agree with you there.
Mhm.
For me, it's just like I would like to be able to have both of these too. So like basketball court and the dog park that we were talking about earlier.
Mhm.
I think that would be fine. I think they're far enough
Yes.
away from each other and they're in the
Yes.
same
I,
cell
I
that I
I
think you'd
I
be
agree
okay
with that.
there. Um, that dog park's a gym too. So
Nice. And that's
um,
what discourages me from doing light ship only nominations because I'm like, I'm not gonna waste my time, not waste my time. I'm not gonna spend my time in taking a picture and submitting it and using an upgrade if I'm never gonna be able to interact with it, And it's just
yeah,
for
yeah.
me, it's like, the rule that I would love to see tweaked, Chris, would be the number of interactions that Wayspot needs to be approved or denied. That's a number we don't know.
Mm,
That's a number probably a handful of people in the whole entire planet know that number, and it's probably an
yeah.
algorithm. But I would love to be able to influence that to say if this is a rural area, right? If you're truly out in the country, then this nomination needs less votes or needs more um, way spotters, explorers with a higher rating to vote on it. So I'm excellent. I think you're excellent, right?
Yeah.
So if you and I were to vote on that POI, let's say our vote counts for 5 points, right? And
Yeah. Yeah.
let's just theoretically say that you need 100 points to get it approved. I don't know this. I'm just don't nobody get mad at
Right.
me. Let's say you need 100 points. You need 100 points for it to get approved. But as excellent, you and I count as 5, and if someone is good, it counts as 3. So if you have more people with an excellent rating voting on it, it can go through sooner. Now, I have no idea if that is even a thing, but I would like to think that my rating means something. And so maybe if you have an excellent and you have that over the course of 100 ratings, it doesn't dip, then you get an additional 2 points on top of your points. So instead of 5, you're
Mm,
now a 7, so that would help and then maybe you get an additional bonus if you're an excellent and you are reviewing in your bonus location is in a more rural area, so you're helping out, so you're helping these things get through, because I don't think it's equitable that if you're already in a rural area that doesn't have a big community, you're probably not going to get a lot of votes on things. So when people go in and help you, it counts for more. So those are the types of rules I would personally like to see tweaked.
that's actually good. I like that. No, that's really smart.
And
And
I've got
it
more.
would really, yeah, yeah. It would incentivize people with the better ratings to kind of help out
Right.
the more rural communities, and they could increase your voting radius for
Right.
you
And
know
then what that would also do for the incentive for the reviewer, if you set your bonus location to a more rural area, and you do get extra points, again, I'm just throwing this out, you would get upgrades faster because you would be
Mhm.
getting more agreements. So that would be the incentive for the reviewer. So Tintino and Niantic Tib, these are all free for you guys to use. I'm not going to charge you for these. So feel free to do with what you want, or to any of our ambassador friends that are listening. These are all free. I'm giving this to you for free. Not going to charge you for these ideas this time.
That's what we're here for. All right, that was good. I think we were informative, but not too informative. If
Yeah.
that's a thing.
We didn't give away the
Um,
secrets that we do know that could help
yes,
people like do things that are nefarious. So we didn't tell you
we
all
didn't give
that
it away.
stuff. Right.
And
You've got to
hopefully it
pay
helps someone.
an additional $5 a month for that information. So
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. All right. I think we're good. You ready to take a break? We'll
yeah,
put some
let's take a
dad jokes.
break. Yeah,
Uh,
take a break, do some dad jokes, and you know what we're gonna have to do, Chris?
what's
So,
that?
sad face to everybody who loves the dad jokes. So I've been trying to post the dad jokes on TikTok, but the Curb Your Enthusiasm music is copyrighted, and TikTok won't let me use it. So, in order to do TikToks on dad jokes, I'm gonna have to find some different music to play under or over the dad jokes. So if you guys are wondering why you've only seen a couple of dad jokes on TikTok, that's why TikTok is blocking me. and we've done some things behind the scenes and reached out to those people to get a license to use it, and they haven't responded back yet. So when you do see the dad jokes, it'll probably be a little bit different music than you hear on the podcast. So we will keep you guys up to date on that. So speaking of that and the good music, let's go ahead and roll a break, and let's play those dad jokes, and we will see you on the other side. We got some good stuff, so stay tuned. What do you call a fish with no eyes? Fish. What should you do if you meet a giant? Use big words. Did you hear about the king that went to the dentist? Yep, he needed to get crowns. What do you call a cow with only 2 legs? Lean beef. What sits on the seabed and has anxiety? A nervous wreck. Why did the girl toss the clock out the window? She really wanted to see time fly. What did one plate say to the other plate? Hey, dinner's on me.
All right, welcome back, everybody, to episode 66, Long Live the Empire, of the Wayspoters podcast. We hope you like the dad jokes. I have some good ones this week. So we're going to get into Wayspot of the week in a second, but we wanted to pull up a tweet from Pokemon Master Holly, who sent this out earlier today. So we're recording this on the 14th. So this was sent out this morning. So she said, genuine question to Niantic Wayfarer and trainers who approve Pokestops. I submitted permanent flagpole structures, permanent fire hydrants, permanent benches, and murals, and sometimes they get accepted and sometimes they don't. Can we please have a more specific list of criteria?
I saw your pause there.
Yes.
I saw your pause.
She 100%, she is right. That list of criteria does need to be updated. And my understanding is that the ambassadors and the Wayfarer team are working on it. It is part of their roadmap for 2023, I believe. So that's coming. But I wanted to respond to Holly and kind of do a little bit of educating.
Yes.
Because this highlights something that we've discussed before. Right. Just because it's in the game now doesn't mean it's still eligible.
And I think why this is important, Chris, is Holly's got a pretty big following, right? She's got a couple different platforms that she talks about Niantic games on. And if she's not 100% up to date on the criteria, then she might say something to some of her streams that might not be 100% up to date. So we want to educate her and everybody else. That's kind of what we want to do, is we want to entertain, we want to educate, and we want to excite. So Holly, we're going to tweet you an answer here in just a second, and we're also going to extend an invitation for you to come on, because we would love to have content creators who actually talk about Wayfarer and know what they talk about. And what would be cool is you can bring up maybe some pictures or some things that you want to nominate, and we can help you with the description, or we can actually do some live voting. But go ahead, Chris. But I just wanted to put that in there because I see a lot of people talking. I see a lot of people talking about fire hydrants and other things. And again, my eye starts to twitch, and so anyways, go ahead.
Exactly. The fire hydrant thing, I think, got her. A few people were just like, no. Right. So I'm for those of you watching on YouTube, you're going to watch me craft an email response to here. I try and be tactful like I normally am. So it's, hey, Holly, we love you. I can't type right now. Let's see, you're interested in Wayfarer.
And the great thing about this for the audio listeners is they probably won't hear all the typing. They'll just hear the finished product.
Yeah.
And the YouTube, maybe we'll leave the YouTube in. We'll see.
Oh, I'm definitely going to leave this in. I'm definitely going to leave it there. Fantastic content. We love to see you are interested in Wayfarer and would love to help you out. First thing there. Oh, fire hydrants. While some stops exist in game, they are no longer eligible by type. A block emergency. I love the autocorrect changing blockable to block.
How cool is that? And if you don't know Holly, Holly is a content creator that was one of the first in the kind of Niantic travel program that when they sent around the world, she was in that first group, and she's been on YouTube for a long time, and I think she's kind of started and stopped a couple of times and picked back up and went from Philly to the West Coast and back, and I think she's still on the West Coast, or she might be in Texas or she was in Texas. I don't know. Hopefully we can get her on and she can tell her story. But she was also a member of the U.S. military. So from an American, thank you for your service. So she's got a lot of different things going on. So
yeah, she's one of the OG YouTubers.
Yeah, I'm filibustering here so you can type.
I think it was her, Trainer Tips, Mystic 7. Reversal, I think. Reversal doesn't do the PoGo anymore. He just does.
No, he quit. Yeah, he quit a while ago.
Yeah, he quit a while ago. Yeah. It's nice to see that they've kind of included some more people. But yeah, she's definitely one of the OGs, and I think that
for sure
she has a big enough audience that we would love to be able to help her. And not that we want to kind of help people who don't have a big audience, but it's important that we help people who do have a big audience so that they're delivering the right message to everybody.
Right. The more consistent, excellent Wayfarer knowledge that's out there, the better it's going to make for all the explorers and wayfinders.
We get them proved. What do you think?
I like it. I think that's very well written in there, and I think it kind of, lets her know that we are here as a resource to help. Because Holly, if you're listening, tagging Niantic Wayfarer, you're going to be waiting a while to get a response. I can just speak to that from personal experience. They might respond to you, but by the time they respond to you, fire hydrants might be inclusive again. Let's just say that. Do me a favor, tag Ken in there, because I know Ken wanted to get involved in the conversation. So tag him in there. He knows Holly also. But this is exciting. I think this is a good thing we're doing here, and it's going to lead us right into the Wayspot of the week here in just a second.
Yes. Here we go. And
tweet has been sent. And for all those out there listening, you are getting a tweet from the verified, as I straighten my tie, Wayfarer Twitter account. We are blue check mark approved. And don't ask us how we got it. We just got it.
It comes in super handy to be able to tweet longer things than
and then go back and edit, because sometimes I fat finger stuff.
Yeah. Oh, the amount of time that I spend before I send a tweet making sure that everything is good, it's the writer in me. I have to make sure that it's correct before I hit send. Even even then I fudge some stuff.
Nice.
All right. So
all right.
That taken care of. That is move into Wayspot of the week.
All right. Wayspot of the week. Before we pull up Wayspot of the week, I noticed on my picture on my shirt, I'm significantly less gray than I am in real life. So that was just good. Anyways.
That's
all right.
Good editing right there.
Wayspot. Yeah, good editing. Wayspot of the week. What do we got here?
Wayspot of the week. So this Wayspot comes to us from the previously aforementioned Ken, from the host of Lured Up and on the Pokemon Professor Network Discord. This is a couch in the local creamery. It's called Nicholas Creamery Couch, COWCH. So that's a fantastic pun in the title. Love it.
Love it. It's along the themes of the one Justin did from a couple of weeks ago.
Yes.
With the dog park. I love it. I love puns. Puns are so good.
Podcast hosts on our network are very punny.
Ooh, I see what you did there.
So it is literally a couch that is shaped like a cow. Like it's a cow with a little bit of a cutout so you can sit in it. And it's inside the local creamery, like I said. And the description is Nicholas Creamery's famous couch, which makes eating ice cream an amusing experience.
So good. There's just so many good puns in there. Oh man, it just makes me smile. It makes me smile. Yeah. Shout out to Ken. Shout out to Ken, owner of the Pokemon Professor Network. Thank you for sending that. And I remember when he took the picture and nominated it, and it went through in a lot faster time than it would take mine. But that's awesome. That's a great Wayspot of the week. So if you out there want to send us a Wayspot of the week, we'll tell you at the end of the show, but we've got you can send it to us on Twitter, or you can hit us up on our website, but there's a few ways that you can send us. So this is a good Wayspot of the week. Give me a thumbs up on this one.
Absolutely. Wayspot. This is Niantic Wayspotters approved.
All right. So, Chris, let's do this. Let's go into Call of the Week. For people out there listening, Call of the Week has become like the most favorite segment of the show. And on our TikTok, you guys are loving Call of the Week on TikTok. And I'm loving that you're loving Call of the Week on TikTok. So we're really going in to make sure we put out the best possible Call of the Week, because the viewers love it, and TikTok loves it, and hopefully YouTube will love it. So let's go ahead. I'm going to give this one to you, or do you want me to take this one and I'll take the next one?
I'll take this one.
Okay, go ahead.
So this one was posted in the Pokemon Professor Network Discord. This one was from Hamtaro. He posted this, and then I replied with, "That is the worst description I have ever read in my entire life." And then he replied with, "I guess you found your Call of the Week." So that was a couple weeks ago. So last week was your show, so I put it in this week's because this one's mine. So I wanted to bring this one in. So
we have to say, friend of the show and fellow podcaster Hamtaro.
Yes, friend of the show, absolutely, yeah. So this is a intersection sign. So it's just the two street signs for Baxter Ave and Charlesworth Drive, and that's the Wayspot. That's the nomination. You can't see the title.
If this was the case, we would have a Wayspot on every street corner in America, right?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. 100%. Like everyone would have a house spot.
Right.
Can't see the title because I think Hamtaro said that they found this on Facebook. But I want to read the description because
let's see the description.
By far one of the worst descriptions I've ever read in my entire life.
Oh, that's saying something. Let's hear it.
Yeah. My trainer name was Rock7 since 2016. And then someone changed it to Rock7 with 2 R's instead of 3 R's. And Rock8 on my other account, Rock8. I had to use a different name because I tried renaming it, and it's just him rambling about his username or their username. Like that's the description of this Wayspot nomination, is someone rambling about how they lost their username.
I read this. Yeah.
Like I don't even know what to say. And the supporting information. So the supporting photo is the same photo, right? So there's like 5, right, 6.
That always makes the Spidey senses tingle when it's the same photo. It's like, what are you trying to hide?
Yep, exactly. And the supporting information is, I am so sad that someone took my name.
It sounds like he should be on a message board with a community manager and not on the Wayfarer website trying to nominate a Pokemon or a POI.
they clearly need someone to talk to about this, because this has upset them to the point where they've decided that they need to plea to the Wayfarer people to get a Wayspot.
They clearly need to phone a friend. So I feel for you.
Yeah. So I feel bad for you, Rock 7. But this is Cole. This is not eligible.
Hey, Rock 7, if you're watching this right now, give us a call. 704-426-3710. You've got 3 minutes on the voicemail. Tell us everything that's going on with you in your life. We will try to help you. If anybody knows Rock 7 or Rock 8 or Rock 6, tell them to call the hotline, 704-426-3710. We will play it on the air. We'll help you through this tough time in your life.
We're here for you, buddy. All right. Now, all right, let's move on to Call of the Week number 2. And I'm going to let you have this one, because this one is yours.
Call of the Week number 2. This came up about a week or so ago. And what you're looking at here for our audio listeners, I'll give you the title. The title is Grace Chapel Fire Station. All right. I know everybody just swerved off the road, spit out their drink. Somebody's trying to nominate a fire station. So right then and there, that would make it ineligible, because it obstructs, what am I trying to say here? It obstructs emergency vehicles. There we go. All right. Now, Chris, here's what truly makes it cool outside of it's a fire station. The person who is nominating this specific Grace Chapel Fire Station has done the ultimate no-no. They are taking the photo from their car, and you can see the mirror. You can see the outline of the door frame, and the worst part about it, Chris, the window is up, so we're getting a glare coming back in from the car. This is just bad on so many levels that I wish I could talk to this person and just like say, hey, do you know what you're doing? Like, this is one that I wish Tintino and team could like flag their account and make them retake the test. Because this is just either someone's goofing or someone just doesn't know. And this is just bad. And then the supporting photo, this is even worse. The supporting photo is not even of the fire station. It's of the flagpoles across the street from the fire station. It's taken from the car. The window is down this time, but they're taking the picture of their side view mirror. It's just really, I just don't even know what to say about this. So
it's terrible.
It's terrible. And then the caption is fire station.
Yeah.
I'm without words on this one. I'm completely without words on this one. Like,
it's almost like when I first saw this, I thought that maybe they were trying to get the reflection of the fire station in the side view mirror, and that was their supporting photo. Like,
I don't know. What are you doing? I really don't know. I don't understand what they were doing there. But when someone so I've seen a lot of Cole. So like I said before, I'm nearing 40,000 reviews. I have seen a lot of Cole. And I haven't. The only thing that would make this Cole better is if there was like a dog in the main picture, and I could have put live animal also. That's like the only thing this is missing. Like, it's got everything else. Like, if we're putting together something for Wayfarer where we got to do a scavenger hunt, this one is like knocking off all the check marks.
It ticks all the boxes. It blocks emergency services. It's taken from a car. It's a terrible photo. The supporting photo is terrible. Yeah, it's not good.
Yep.
Not good.
All right, I'm going to kick it back over to you.
All right. Yeah, I think we're done. That was good. Yeah, I think we're gonna wrap it up. I hope everybody found this exciting, entertaining, educational. Thank you, everyone, for listening to this episode of the Wayspotters podcast. As always, a special thank you goes out to our executive producer, KatettheKonz. Thank you very much. We really appreciate you. We're going to continue to message you in the middle of the night, and we'll get some good laughs in that little chat. So it's good. It's been fun. If you enjoy what you hear, there are a few ways you can show us. Like Jamal mentioned earlier, follow us on Twitter at Wayspotters. We are also on Instagram at Wayspotters Podcast. And we're also on TikTok. We've had a couple of our TikToks get over 2,500 views. So if you haven't gone to check us out, please do. It's at I Make Wayspots, or just search Wayspotters, you'll find us. We are incredibly responsive, and we love interacting with our viewers and our listeners. DM us on Twitter or Instagram. We'll get back to you if you need anything. You can also rate us on the podcast service that you're currently listening to: Spotify, Anchor FM, Apple, Google, iHeartMedia. 5 stars, always the best stars. If you leave us a little glowing review too, if you feel so inclined, we would love for you to do that. We love hearing how awesome you think the show is. Visit our website, www.wayspotters.com. From there, you can get the links to everywhere you can download the show. And you can also send us a message directly from the website or email us at wayspotters@pokemonprofessor.com. Third, as Jamal mentioned earlier, leave us a voicemail on our hotline, 704-426-3710. You never know, we may play your voicemail on the air, especially if your username is Rock7. Or tweet us a voice message, record it and tweet it to us. We will put it on the air. And finally, last but not least, if you are not a member of the Pokemon Professor Network, Patreon, you can join us for as little as $1 US a month. That is down to $133 a month Canadian. You will have access to the Discord for the entire family of shows across the Pokemon Professor Network, including Wayspotters, Special Conditions, Gotta Watch 'Em All, Purified Podcast, and Lured Up. It's a fantastic place filled with fantastic people. And with that, we look forward to you listening to us and watching us again next week. Thank you for listening to Wayspotters. And remember, it's not that far. Get out of your car.